In just a few days, America will once again watch the biggest event in modern pop culture. The ads during the Super Bowl. Oh, and the game too, if you're into that. But how did the commercials become such a big deal that almost half of people watch the game just for the ads? I'll answer that after a brief commercial. Change of plans, no commercial. So, it's no secret that the Super Bowl is hugely popular. It's some of the most watched television. Last year's game had an estimated 200 million worldwide viewers. With that big of an audience, obviously companies are going to want to advertise. But why is the cost of putting an ad on the Super Bowl risen from $37,000 at the first to $7 million today? Why do we like ads now? We didn't used to. During an early Super Bowl, host Bob Hope ran long on a halftime interview, which meant that the commercials were still playing when the game restarted after the end of the break. When referees realized this, they stopped the players and asked them to redo the kickoff. At the time, this was a hugely unpopular decision, because it made it seem like the ads were more important than the game they were playing on. These early commercials were pretty standard, like airline TWA advertising their flights, so there wasn't a reason to care about seeing them, just to care about not seeing the players play. This would change, though, when a little company called Apple had to announce their new Macintosh computer. In classic Steve Jobs fashion, he wanted the announcement to stop the world in its tracks, and his team told him that the only place with the audience to do that was the Super Bowl. To which Steve Jobs responded, "I don't know anyone watches the Super Bowl." But they would when Apple's commercial claimed that their computer could prevent the dystopia from the movie 1984, the same year that the ad aired. As bizarre as it was, this was really the first time that people were talking specifically about the commercials on a sports broadcast, which meant, naturally, that every other company wanted to do that too, all rushing to create the next big talk of the town ad. Humor, celebrities, massive budgets, whatever it took to get people's attention. After years of these giant ads, they started to become part of the draw for the show. In 1986, the Super Bowl held a moment of silence so viewers could leave their TV without missing the commercials. They paused the game so you wouldn't miss the commercials. This was getting out of hand. But it got worse, because 2000 was the year of the .com Super Bowl. All these newfangled websites wanted to advertise too. It wasn't just commercials for beer and trucks and Coca-Cola. This increased interest led to CBS airing a special of just commercials from past games, where viewers could vote on their favorite. And then, some guys had to go to the zoo and make a brand new video streaming website, which changed pretty much everything. This is a different topic, but the introduction of YouTube changed how so many companies thought about marketing and even just what their online identity was. For Super Bowl ads, YouTube meant that companies could post their commercials online for people to watch, and sometimes they would even post commercials for the commercials. Commercials for the commercials! But commercials, I need to stop saying that word, were about to get their moment alone in the spotlight. Dish, the TV company, had an auto-hop feature, where they could automatically cut commercials out of their recordings. Except for the Super Bowl, where they cut out the Super Bowl and just left the commercials. This is madness. But it's madness that people wanted. As more companies made interesting ads, people stopped skipping them. In fact, a 2016 study actually showed that viewer attention went up when an ad came on. People not skipping the ads, then, meant that commercials didn't have to be super in your face with anything possible to get your attention. They could be slower paced, more thoughtful, more creative, which in turn meant that more people watched the commercials. It's a lovely little symbiotic relationship. And that relationship created an ecosystem that didn't exist before. Non-sports fans could actually talk to sports fans about sports without knowing anything about sports. That's helpful for me, even though I know all about sports. Because if you didn't, you could instead talk about the weird commercials you saw. Like this one, where the Wizard of Oz's Lollipop Guild all lost their voices.
What up, Underworld Voices? Package for the Lollipop Guild. FedEx delivers where other shipping companies can only imagine.
Or this one, about a karate class that can prevent people from stealing your Sierra Mist.
Someone tries to take your Sierra Mist. What do?
Smash them in the face with a lamp?
Come on, people.
Guess we should have all taken that class. I think my favorite, though, is this one from 2013, where a kid tries to get his neighbor to give him Doritos by claiming he built a time machine powered by them.
Want to try out my time machine? It runs on Doritos. Yes!
It's really working, Jimmy!
They're all so weird, but I love them. Except, I am genuinely excited for this weekend. Not to watch the game, I probably won't, but to watch the commercials after the fact. Does that mean we live in some commercial-fueled dystopia? Maybe. But remember, it's not Apple's fault. They said so.